Okay, here we go. One more time with the brown bag. We're going to practice some more refactoring. We will continue with 5 lines of code from Christian Clausen, and he's got some good practices here. So today's goals, we're going to discuss the idea of do not have common affixes and how that's a code smell. We're also going to discuss what an affix is. We'll practice the encapsulate data refactoring, and we'll talk a little bit about what the benefits of encapsulation are. So if you're ready, let's do this thing. Okay, so an affix is basically a prefix or a suffix. If you notice that you've got things that are named with the same prefix or suffix, that sort of is suggesting to you that you've got an object hiding in there. For instance, here we've got this function called drawPlayer, and we have a variable called player X and a variable called player Y. So this suggests to us that we probably can have an object that holds the X and the Y and the draw method. So we can have an object called player. The only problem is, if you look, we've got a player object already, but this isn't really a player object that is drawn. This is a tile type. So what we will do, we will rename this to a player tile, and then we'll see down here where it blows up, where it stops compiling. Go ahead and make that a player tile, and then down here, make this a player tile. Okay, so we'll make sure we didn't break anything. So the player tile still moves around. The player tile is the red one there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and check that in. Renamed player to player. Come on, tile to facilitate refactoring. Well, we'll just go 2 points over. Okay, boom. All right. So that being said, let's go here. We will create class player, and it will have private X, private Y. And we'll also have a get X, turn, come on, this.x, and a get Y. It will return this.y. And we'll have a set X that will take an X, just a number, X, X, and then a set Y. And that's a number. I know we just talked about how getters and setters are a bad thing, but this is an intermediate step in this refactoring to move everything to the player. Now, why did I initialize this to X equals 1 and Y equals 1? Well, if you look down here where the player is initialized, boom, right here. So that initializes player X to 1 and player Y to 1. So what we'll do is remove those, say let player equals new player. So now we have our object defined properly. So we'll go up here. Let's start here. So basically, we've got this player X and player Y. Notice that every place we're referring, the only place we're setting it is right here. So what we can do is, not rename this element, hide and watch. Player Y will be get player.get Y. There we go. Do the same thing. Player X to be player.getX. Okay. And here we're actually going to be doing a set. All right. So we've replaced every place where we referenced that particular variable with the get and the set. If we had a proper refactoring, we would use an automated refactoring to do that, and it would be smarter about this. But that's one thing VS Code does not give us just yet. Okay, so we've got the set X and the set Y done. Let's go ahead and build it, make sure that we didn't break anything. Okay. Player still moves everywhere he's supposed to, and this is good. So what we will do is we will create a player object. Right, boom. All right, so now what's the other thing that we saw here? We had this draw player. So if we go to our player object, it's right here. And we put that in here. So we don't need to say draw player. This will just be draw. Instead of player.getX, say this.x, this.y. Okay. Then go here to draw player. We will say player dot draw. S and the G. That should work. Now, draw player is only called in one place, so why don't we just do that here? Player dot draw, and we can get rid of this. And you see there's no red. So it compiles. Let's go ahead and make sure that we didn't break anything by doing that. Everything works just the way it's supposed to. Okay, so now we have this situation where really what we want to do, the reason we created this player object is to encapsulate all of the player references so that instead of having, a global player X and the player Y value and this global draw player function, we go ahead and have this player be encapsulated. That means that we have this instance of the player object that we pass around that has all of the data in it so that we don't have to, we don't have this global variable that can be set or changed or manipulated from anywhere. Basically, we have everything encapsulated so everything goes through this object. And it keeps things much easier to manipulate. So with that in mind, we can look at every place where we're using player, and we can start encapsulating how these things are done, right? So we got it there, here. So this move horizontal. So what we'll do is we will add a player here. Resting, falling are both in the falling state. That's in the move horizontal. So player. Okay, so now I'm not using the global version of player. I'm using the one that I've passed in. This is a safer way of doing things. This is the whole point of object-oriented programming. So by making that change, I've now broken this. So I have to pass in player here. Well, that means we need to put player as a parameter here too. And that breaks things down here. Now, looks like we've just broken all kinds of stuff. Because I've gone and changed one of the tile objects, that means I've changed the tile interface. So basically what we've changed here is move horizontal. You know, we're going to have to, if we change move horizontal, I bet we're going to have to change move vertical too, right? Vertical, does any of the move verticals have a player in it? That one does, okay. Let's just go ahead and add a player to move horizontal. And to move vertical. Okay, and then the other one that we changed down here was update. So update takes a player as well. Right, that there, that there, that there. Come on. Update, horizontal, vertical, update. Okay. Okay, so we've encapsulated everything there. Ooh, what did we miss up here? Horizontal, right. And what did we miss here? We got a little red squiggle right there. Player this XY. Fall strategy update. Player this XY. Okay, so let's go to fall strategy. Fall strategy update this XY. So that takes a player. No, that doesn't. Right, fall strategy does not do that. Right, fall strategy update. We've got a map, but we don't have a player. So don't worry about that. Let's come down here. We got some more stuff. This move horizontal. So this will take a player. Okay, so this move horizontal, move vertical, and update map are global. So we use the global player object. We'll see about cleaning that up later. With that in mind, this is just a single thing. Okay, so it calls the map move vertical, move horizontal. Okay, so let's go ahead, compile that, make sure we didn't break anything. Okay, everything is still working. So basically all we did was encapsulate the player object into, all the player references into a player object, right? So you see, we made a number of changes. Every place where we use a player, we're going to be referencing this player object that's passed in rather than the global player. Okay, so encapsulate player object references. Okay, boom, and we'll check that in. All right, so we have we've encapsulated everything, and that's a good thing. So let's go in. What did we do last time? We got rid of all the getters and setters. How do we do that? Well, make this private. Okay, so making this private, let's start down here with the global stuff. So player.getX. So basically we've got this moved tile that we're going to have to move that into our player object. Come up here to player. We've got move to tile. Okay. To tile, and instead of player get Y, we would this.y. Instead of player.get X, this.x. Okay, so we do all of that, and then the move to tile function here, say player dot move to tile, new x, new. Okay, so we've cleaned that up. Same thing with the move horizontal and move vertical functions. Let's go ahead and put those up here. So again, the player get Y, this dot Y, and the player dot get X, change to this dot X. Okay, let me go down here to the move horizontal, move vertical, change this to player dot move horizontal, D, X, I'm sorry, D, X, and that's it, because it's move horizontal. And then this would be player dot move vertical, dy. Okay, so we got those moved in. We've got this here, move horizontal. We've got a move to tile. Okay, so do we have a move to tile method down here? Well, let's see, where's that called? Boom, there's move to tile, player.move to tile. Okay, new X and new Y. So basically we've got this here, this move to tile. Player.move to tile dx, right? Is that wrong? Let's move to tile do here. Move to tile, you pass a new X and a new Y. Okay. So what we need to do here is just create a method here called move. Okay, and that will take a new x, well, a dx, which is a number, and a dy, which is a number. See where I'm going with this here. What we'll do is say that we'll call move to tile, and it will be dx plus this dot x plus dx, and this dot y plus dy. Okay. So basically, we'll say we're going to move it. If we're going to do a move relative, then we'll just call move. And this move to tile will be called, and that goes and moves to a specific location. So, and what we're doing here is actually is a move relative. So we'll do this player.move dx, and y would be 0. So we're not going to move it vertically, we're only going to move it horizontally, right? And then we'll do the same thing here. Player.move 0 dy, because we've only got a dy there, because we're doing a move vertical. All right, we got this here. Well, this is a similar thing. So that's a dx, player.move dx 0. Now player.move 0 dy. And we've got the same thing here. Player.move dx 0 and player.move 0 dy. Okay, now we got this little dude here. So this is a move horizontal. Okay, that's in resting. If we go to player, we'll notice that we already have a move horizontal. I put this here. What this is really doing, this is basically it's setting this. If it's air, then we're going to set it to this tile, and we're going to move me to this other place. Basically, it's pushing, right? So we'll call this push horizontal. Okay. And instead of this player.getY, we back to this dot y. And here. Then player.getX, this dot x. Okay. Then we come back down here to what was broken. We got this move horizontal. What we will now do is say player.push horizontal. And we don't have to pass player anymore. Pass the tile and the dx. What happened there? Dx. Okay. Player push horizontal. You don't have to pass in player because we got this. Okay. So we're not, we're referencing this here. Player.setX, move to tile. We don't need that. We need to change that to this dot x equals new x. And this dot y equals new y. Okay, so we're not referencing player in player. And we don't have any other things out here that are going to be referencing the get x. So let's make sure we didn't break it. Okay, and that continues to work. So we can get rid of getX. You can see it's a little darker there, so it's not even being called. Get_y, let's see here. My guess is that get_y, make that private, nobody even notices. So we got get_y for free just because we went and changed it. How about setX? Oops. Private setX. Does anybody call setX? Doesn't look like it. So get rid of that. Set_y. Booyah! So now we have all of this working. We have a player redefined. Well, let's make sure that we have it working. Okay. And the player moves just as we expect. Things fall and slide just the way we expect them to. So this is a good thing. So what we've done is we've encapsulated all these functions and values, well, the X and Y value, into player. So player basically represents a location on the grid and the functions that are operated on that I guess location on the grid. So we're going to be setting the color, we're going to be setting its location, we're going to be moving that player around. So that's really all we're doing. That's what you do with the player. And so if we go down here, one thing we've got here, move vertical. We've got this right here, this up, down, left, and right. These move things around. So let's look at what this move vertical does. So this move vertical has a player move vertical. So we need to further encapsulate this. Player. We didn't finish encapsulating all the things here. Player. So now we've just broken all of these, which need a player. That we need to, so the handle, I think we're going to have to get back to that. Okay, so horizontal, move vertical. Okay, so we got that. Now, this move horizontal, just out of curiosity, what if we decide to inline this? Get rid of move horizontal. Make that player dot move horizontal. There we go. That's an even better way to do things than to move vertical. Okay. So we've now we've gone and just inlined the move horizontal and move vertical functions, which is nice. I like getting rid of functions here. What about this move to tile? What if we get rid of that? Does anybody care? Oh, these guys care. This is player move to tile. What does move to tile do? It calls player move to tile. Interesting. So what calls move to tile? This move calls move to tile. Well, why don't I just do this? This dot move to tile. And this dot move to tile. Down here, move to tile. Oops, got a little too hungry there. So everything compiles. I don't see any red. Make sure I didn't break anything. All right, so we were able to get rid of some methods that weren't necessary, push them up into the object, which is pretty cool. Now, yeah, you notice that here this this up, down, left, and right, we use the global player, and that's because we go and create a new up, down, left, and right. That's basically adding event listeners, and it just has to be global here anyway. So there's no way around that at the moment. We may come up with a solution for that later, but for now we're going to just keep this the way it is. And see, did we? I don't remember. Did we compile? Make sure that we didn't break anything. Let's do that. Okay, so we got it working. And so basically what we did is we pushed methods into the player object to further encapsulate the functionality, and we got rid of, we removed getters and setters from player object, and we moved functions into player object to further encapsulate functionality. Very good. Boom, check that in. Okay, and I will go ahead and we'll just leave it there for now. We've discussed the encapsulation. We encapsulated that data, and we talked about affixes. So we'll leave it there for now. The next step is going to be much longer, so we'll call it quits. And appreciate you joining me for this little refactoring practice, and we'll do it again next time. Y'all have a great day.